What's up, YouTube? My name is Vinny Fraser, also known as Vincentius Music. Here with my beautiful fiance,
Becca.
And we are Real. Blah. What's up, YouTube? Thanks for coming to our channel today. Real here, and today we're getting back into Terra Infinita. We're on Chapter 2, The Great Dome. And we've decided we're going to swap out back and forth reading chapter for chapter. So, yeah, man, the Great Dome. Let's get it.
It's weird to not put our headsets on.
I know. I felt weird, too, when I started reading last time.
Alrighty. I feel like you can, are going out of the frame a little bit. Like your head is, you know.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, The Great Dome. Before going into each of the worlds, it is necessary to make a caveat and clarify what the Great Dome means and what we mean when we mention it. The Great Dome, or also called the end of the known, is that which covers and encloses in some way all the other known worlds. Very few were able to see and this end and even touch it. Can it be really touched? Why does it feel like it's worded so? Can it be really touched? Can it really be touched? I feel like it's worded a little funny.
Can it really be touched? That's crazy.
Yeah. Moreover, it is said that some experiments were made to be able to cross it, but it was not possible. It is a terror of several colonizing civilizations that do not sleep peacefully, since any race from outside could take away from them from one day to the other the power that they maintain in the hierarchical. Say this word for me.
Hierarchical?
Yeah, there's a lot of R's in that one. Pyramid that they themselves built during history. Another world that generates terror for them is the celestial lands, but we will have had time to detail this mysterious place that has a great relationship with the human being. In this great dome, there are 178 worlds or circle environments, which is in turn may have one or several domes that also enclose them, with their different climates and civilizations. No, it's crazy because if you think about it, like in this round earth that we live on, they have said that they have found, like, gone into caves and gone hundreds, or like gone miles down, maybe not hundreds, okay, but miles down, and have found their own ecosystem where there is like a little miniature rainforest and different species that we've never even seen before, right? So it makes sense. Penetrating these domes of each circle is not an easy task.
Pause. Just to jump in right there, Operation Fishbowl. If you've never heard of Operation Fishbowl, look into that.
Check it out.
Our government literally shot rockets at the firmament, the one that protects us, the dome over our circle environment. Here, I'll zoom in on it. And tried to penetrate it. And there's, look into it. Operation Fishbowl. Sorry.
I think we forgot to say that we were just reading a fictional novel, too. So, it's just fiction, guys.
Just fictional novel, guys.
Penetrating these domes of each circle is not an easy task. As time went by, the technique was perfected, and now there's a lot of technologies to carry it out. But this was developed exclusively by colonizing races. Many other races explored surrounding these worlds, or simply the independent lands, lacking domes. Wait, independent lands?
Lacking domes. Kind of like this one right here.
So it doesn't have a dome around it? Like, okay.
Underlands.
I wonder what it's
this
like
right
there.
Here. Lands of the Sun.
Cosmo. Pinch Pokemon. That's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's a really cool fictional novel.
These domes are almost impossible to cross via air, and almost always another way is sought by land. But the most common is that it can be done through water, which is where they are more easily found, the way to open passages that connect the inner outer worlds, almost like two membranes in any cell, functioning as a barrier that can allow at a certain time the passage.
Now, if you look at this, what is one thing in common with all the lands here?
It is all water.
They're all water. There's water inside of every one of them and outside of every one of them.
And not only that, but
they won't let us go down into the water.
Yeah, we can't study the water, right? Like, so NASA used to study the oceans. And then at some point in time, they said, we're done studying the oceans. We're going to go look up into space.
Yep.
Because
they don't want you looking. They want you to look where they look.
Exactly. And if we're always looking at the moon, we're not looking at the water. But then there's also things that are like extraterrestrial come through waters, right? Like you can look at videos where there's like a flying object just shoot into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and extraterrestrial, if you break that down, it means extra terrain.
Right.
So they come from an extra terrain, and outer space is outer space. Look at this map. This is outer space, not this unimaginable, unfathomable, there's no way for us to go experiment with space or nothing like that. But this is more realistic. And about what you just said about going through the water to portal to other places. Mm-hmm. If you zoom in on this map here, and you look at what we call Antarctica, this is this circle of ice around us. On the north side of it, actually, that could be a lie. I don't know if north is actually north, but what we call north is a portal right here in the ice wall. You can see there's a wall, there's an opening here. And that's a portal to, I'm assuming, Aitolova. I don't know where that is. I'll find it. But then here is a strait, Morris Strait. So down here, you go through this strait. But basically, you can boat or swim probably. I mean, it's probably cold as shit. But you can go right through here. And right there is Eden, which is crazy to me.
Just the Garden of Eden. And the Ark.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's another portal to the southwest area. But yeah, so it's and right here in the dead center, Hyperborea. Anyways, yeah. Continue.
When you have greater control to be able to penetrate some specific domes, it can be done via air without much inconvenience, although it can be quite dangerous for reasons that we will see later. Much later, many portals are found in several circle environments, connecting even several of the worlds. The manipulation of these portals was so great that many problems were caused and some became unstable, making some beings have disappeared without knowing where they really went, or if this caused that their matter was disintegrated.
Disintegrated?
No.
Disintegrated, yeah.
Okay, disintegrated. Okay, that makes me think of like the Bermuda Triangle. You know, like if you go to the Bermuda Triangle, you just disappear. Yeah, where do you go? Today it is common to find beginnings in full development of portals that can connect certain areas within the Great Dome without ever having been able to penetrate it. When we speak of the 178 worlds, we are not referring to the independent lands that exist between worlds. These are lands that exist and were used by various races when they could go outside. In fact, it is said that these lands exist to avoid long distances that connect the worlds. It is fervently believed. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Believed. What does that word mean?
A lot of people believe it.
Okay. That the worlds were made to investigate them, and that all of us, in one way or another, are going to go outside to look for our freedom, to know other races, and to be able to enter someday in what can be found in the celestial lands, as well as behind the Great Dome.
Beautiful. See, now in the very first chapter that we read, I was saying that we don't know where she comes from. Her name is Helen. And she said she comes from the 8,000 kilometers of what we know south, remember? And we were like, where's that? And we were looking on the map. But if you look right here, it says ancestral lands. And she says she comes from the Ancestral Republic. So literally what we know as south, just beyond the first ice walls, is the Ancestral Republic where she comes from. And here's the Shiki lands where the giants are, or where the giant is that gave her this information. Then somewhere on this map is the moving lands of Thoth. And that's where the giants live.
But you also have, like right here, the ancient lands of Annex. So how do you know where she lives in one of these?
I don't know where. I just know that says
But she just knows
lands.
Somewhere right here, right?
Yeah. Ancestral Republic is somewhere right here, yeah, for sure. But yeah, super cool. And pause. Did you escape?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a pause moment. Our daughter escaped the grasp of our other daughter who was watching her.
Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Say, we're reading a book
We're reading a book
Yeah.
about the world.
about the world.
But it's fiction.
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 But yeah, so that's the end of the chapter, right?
Yeah, yep,
Cool.
it was only 2
Also,
pages.
one more thing I wanted to point out, because after this chapter, this is called the Great Dome. After this chapter, she starts getting into, he's the author, that's why I say that, but she starts getting into the other lands, like the lands of the custodians, the lands of Mars, the lands of Neptune. So it's really interesting stuff, so tune into that. But if you can, look at the map on the screen. I'm going to zoom in on the lands of Jupiter, okay? And if you guys can, just either write down a couple of these or put them into your Google real quick. And remember, this is the land of Jupiter. So just look at a couple of these names. I'll leave it here for a second. And type them in. And look at how the connection is made with what they teach us about outer space.
What they teach us about,
Good day.
what's the technical word for it? The stars.
The
and
heliocentric model of Earth.
No, I'm talking about the stars.
The cosmos?
No.
What?
It's like a class, like no, it's not anthropology. But
Astrology?
astrology. Like, if you get into astrology, it's pretty cool because they tell us about all of these places in outer space.
Yeah, it's like, where did they get the names from, right? How did they come up with that name? Weird. And they want us looking in every direction except for where we should be looking, which is where we actually live.
But even though they have us looking in that direction and saying, oh, look, there's Jupiter, and that star right there is called this, and it's the biggest star in that, what is it called? I can't think right now. Constellation, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of fascinating things, but anyways, we'll catch you guys in the next chapter. Moving on. Real, we out of here.
Bye-bye.